Well, welcome back, Angela. We looked in part one at some of your older poems.
Yes.
Let's take a look at some of your newer poems from your more recent books.
Let me just tell you what happened to the old book. The old book was called Seriously Funny Poems, published through lulu.com, which is an online printer, who are wonderful. Unfortunately, I loaded it up and I changed it twice and didn't want to lose the first and the second versions. And on one occasion, when I sent off, I managed to get all three versions once. So I'm now doing another book telling you how to self-publish successfully. Since I know how to do it unsuccessfully, I learnt the hard way. Mind you, the hard way was quite fun. Anyway, this is my second book, which is called Poetry Workshop Workbook. Now, when I was reading my funny poems at Sonic, I was invited to do a poetry workshop by a good friend called, well, she wasn't a friend then, she was an acquaintance, she's now a friend, Lynn of the Watford Writers' Circle, and she said, come along and read your funny poems. But I thought, well, writers don't really want to listen to me reading, they want to learn how to write better or just write. So I thought I'd teach them to do haikus and villanelles, give them a couple of examples and then get them writing and read out their best ones. Then I thought, oh dear, what happens if they ask me how to write a sonnet? And what happens if they ask me the difference between a Shakespearean sonnet and an Italian sonnet? I'd better research this and get this right. Then I thought, what happens if they ask me about a terza rima? Oh dear, so I had to investigate that. Well, about 6 weeks later, having spent well over 12 hours a day researching all this, I realised that I had enough material to write a complete workbook on all the different rhymes. And in the back of it, I've put a poet's dictionary that gives you the short version. And I use it myself all the time, so if I want to look up a sonnet or a villanelle, at the back it will tell me what to do. And right the way through the book, I've got examples of them and space for you to actually fill out the grid and write your own, your title and so on. And then I've made up my own examples because I didn't want to infringe on anyone else's copyright, so I can only really quote a couplet or find a living author who I actually know and have their email and ask them if I want to put theirs in. And first I start with I found some wonderful poetry quotations online. Oscar Wilde, a poet can survive everything but a misprint. And of course I put some of my own in. Writing double acrostics, hours of self-inflicted fun. Then another one of mine. If you were told that one person was a mugger and another was a poet, who would you prefer to meet? I am a poet. And then, anybody can write comic poetry. There is only one thing you need. Chutzpah. Follow me. Now, what shall I read you? What would you like to hear?
Something saucy and fun.
Saucy. Ooh, they're all saucy.
That's what I like to hear.
The Rabbi. A tall dark rabbi caught my eye as his big black beard went bouncing by. He stopped, patted his hat, gave a wistful sigh. I almost gave religion a try when that jolly rabbi caught my eye. Thank you for that word of appreciation.
I liked it.
Yes. Oh, here's the one I put on the back of my book. It was good to have one on the back so the person browsing can see a poem. This is just called Another Poem. I very rarely drive my car. 2 accidents. I won't drive far. Don't like the crush hour, 9 to 5. I crash at home and stay alive. I'll drive at night if roads are clear, but winter away half the year. Won't park in cities full of crime. Watch out for speed cameras all the time. You've got a train pass, journey free, then you must come and visit me.
Wow, that's very good.
Is it couplets or chockies? Well, you have to read my book to find out, won't you?
You've got a book that you've only just written, haven't you?
Ah!
Fresh off the press.
Fresh off the press. Writing Poetry for Fun with Angela. This has got, as yet, no illustrations. I'm going to change it, reprint it with illustrations.
So it's a work in progress still.
Work in progress, but it has one of my favourite poems about the wedding. In fact, I've got 2 poems about weddings. One about wedding disasters, and one about the, I wouldn't exactly describe her as jilted. Perhaps unrequited is a better word. Which do you want first?
Unrequited.
Unrequited, right. To my ex-boyfriend. When I heard of his forthcoming wedding, I was not pleased, I must confess. Though not invited, I went to my wardrobe, and I picked out a little black dress. Of course, I could wear a white one, with a long veil over my face, and arrive 10 minutes early, and stand firmly in her place. I could send a wedding telegram. On the outside, congratulations. But inside, the toastmaster reads, condolences from all your relations. I could shake her hand warmly and whisper, so you're the girl who's so lucky. I do hope he isn't going to make you as sour, cross and miserable as me. Should I take poison, or sword, or gun, to kill her? Or should it be him? That's silly. I'd just go to prison, and that way nobody would win. I think I shall turn up smiling, showing no sign of distress. But I shall accidentally trip and spill red wine down her dress. The chocolate box is empty. My new hat looks just fine. Yes, now I'm ready to go and gate crash. Enjoy free champagne and wine. Frankly, he's making a big mistake in not choosing darling me. Let's hope I'll find somebody else before he drunkenly grabs at me. I'm looking forward to Christmas. My best present would be his divorce. To him I'd say, I told you so. To my friends I'll shrug, of course. Would I marry Casanova next time round? It's a prospect, I imagine. With alarm, how could any bride be confident with so many exes wishing her harm? Some women are off limits. He never should have kissed her. You don't marry your lover's daughter, her mother, or her sister.
That is great. That's a brilliant one. We've got 2 minutes left. Have you got time for another poem?
I'll just read you a couple of verses from Wedding Disasters. Everything borrowed, the bride's blue, the groom is old, the vicar's new. So much to think of and to do. We smile brightly, planning to sue. There you are. What I must just tell you is you can get a poem written just for you if you go onto my Facebook fan club, type in Angela Lansbury Author Fan Club, and then if you ask me and tell me a couple of facts about yourself, I will write you at least a couple of couplets to entertain you and show everybody else on the fan club.
And just briefly, have you any advice for any would-be poets?
I am a person who prefers rhyme, because if you don't have rhyme, how are you going to remember? I like to do it with a rhyme, and I remember all the time.
Thanks very much, Angela Lansbury, and good luck with all the poetry and all your other books.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.